Very excited about our next guest. Let's welcome to the program, Jeff Pilson. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I am great, and wow, with an introduction like that, I better be good.
Well, typically people say that to me, so the pressure's on us both. Not much gets me real excited these days, but obviously the name Foreigner, the band Foreigner, sure does. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I know you guys are coming to town at the end of next month, but let's go back a few years, and I can't believe when I did my little bit of research this morning, over 22 years ago. Talk about the movie Rockstar.
Wow. Well, you know what? It was a fabulous experience. I mean, I'd never been, spent that much time around a major motion picture. It was fabulous. The director, Stephen Herrick, was a gem. He looked for a lot of input from us because he wanted it to be as authentic as possible. And you know what? It was just a really fun, great experience that I will never forget, and I'm very grateful.
And I mean this sincerely. I don't watch a lot of movies. I've done a contest on the show, name 10 movies. If I've seen 7, you win a prize. Not only have I seen that movie, I've seen it numerous times, and I've always enjoyed it. Everything about it. I've since gotten into a little bit of the rock and roll world. We travel a little bit with Mickey D and the Scorpions, and so I see it from a different kind of angle. But, the Steel Dragon, and then, with how the whole movie was and how many bands have since done that? Like Journey did that, and a lot of bands when they replace. So maybe it was way ahead of its time.
Yeah, maybe that is possible. That would be kind of cool. But you know what? I gotta say, I'm usually very skeptical of music movies. This one was actually a good one.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Are you a sports fan? This is a sports and entertainment network. What kind of sports do you enjoy? Teams, players, what?
Yes, I enjoy sports, but the main sport that I enjoy is football. But I love basketball. Like around finals, I get into basketball. I dig basketball. But yeah, mostly NFL.
What team? What are you?
Well, I lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin from the time I was 4 till the time I was 13. So I will never, ever, ever be able to escape being a cheesehead Green Bay Packer fan.
There you go. Had the opportunity to go to their museum. I've always said, and of course I'm spoiled. I've been to 23 Super Bowls. I cover the NFL. I cover the Bucs. I would pay money, and still to this day, to watch Warren Sapp and Brett Favre go at it.
I understand. I do. Yeah, well, I have not been to the museum, but that's on a planned trip. And what's kind of cool is my cousin is actually the insurance guy for the Packers. Because he lives there.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have an in. It's kind of cool.
Not only can you just say, hey, I'm with Foreigner, but you have an in there. Talk about what that's like. And is it different touring with Foreigner than, say, Dokken back in the day? I know I said it wrong.
Not as much as you might think. Both Dokken and Foreigner are high energy rock bands live. So we kind of approach Foreigner much like how Dokken did. Just go out there and kick some butt. That's the idea. And so yeah, I would say less different than you might expect.
How different is it touring now than 20 years ago, 30 years ago?
Oh my God, it's 20 years ago. It's not that much different, except, COVID obviously affected things pretty drastically. But I would say, 30 years ago, if you compare it to that, there's a lot less sex and drugs, but there's plenty of rock and roll. So it's all good by me.
My producer has toured the world with Motorhead, and he's the one that's close friends with Mickey. So he's told me what stories he's allowed to tell me. So I'm sure from that period to now, what's the craziest, strangest thing that's ever happened, to you or that you've noticed while on stage?
The craziest thing, one day, not too long ago, actually, now that I think about it, it's probably a couple years ago, but anyway, we were doing a private corporate event, and on the end of Hot Blooded, we dragged a bunch of people from the audience up onto the stage because it was a pretty small crowd, but they were very enthusiastic. So we brought them up on the stage, and one of the women that came up there, she saw a drumstick kind of sitting on the drum platform, so she just grabbed it, and she was like kind of using it to kind of almost like beat it around on things. Well, she comes up to me, and she slams me on my elbow with this drumstick. I know she wasn't doing it maliciously. She just didn't realize, the adrenaline and all that other stuff. But she just banged the crap out of my elbow. And I always thought, I guess we don't realize how much adrenaline we have on stage, because that hurt.
For sure. Now, from the fan standpoint, did she get to keep the drumstick?
Don't remember. I was looking at all the. I was kind of. There was something else on my mind at that point.
For sure. How crazy is it to be on stage, whatever year this is, 2023, performing with Foreigner or in Foreigner, and seeing not only the generation that grew up watching Foreigner like myself, but 2 other generations in the audience as well?
You know what? It's something that's not lost on us, and it means that music is a binding agent and a unifier. And to me, that's something that this world and this society needs more than anything right now, is things that bring us together. And the fact that music brings us together in such a beautiful way, and such a pure way. You can't describe how music makes you feel. It just gives you a feeling. And it's that feeling that we all commonly share. And yet, it's not a verbal thing. It's a felt thing. And I think more of that is what's needed in the world, and I couldn't be more honored to be one of the people that gets to do it.
I agree with you 100%. And with that, the band Foreigner is one of those bands for me. Growing up in the 70s and 80s and being in the military in the 80s, there's certain things that we did and listened to, and Foreigner was one of those. So, I'll have the radio on, and the first 3 or 4 songs I hear, but I don't really hear. And then you mentioned Hot Blood. Hot Blooded comes on, and you literally stop what you're doing to listen to it.
Yeah, it sure is. Exciting track, isn't it?
For sure. What goes into producing an album? I saw that you produce a lot. You do a lot of other things other than play the guitar.
Right. So what goes into producing? A producer is much like the director on a movie, where you're in charge of the content. What's going down? What's the substance of this, in this case, album, musical album. And so you want to get the best performances out of people. You want to, there's a unifying factor there as well. You want to really bring everybody together so that they're all focused, because a band, when they're focused, is very, very powerful. A band, when it's not focused, is a chaotic nightmare. So the producer's job is to pull it all together musically, even personality-wise. There's generally a lot of psychology involved. And then just musicality, just bringing out the passion of the music. And, some producers have a stamp that they like to put on things. I don't. I just want it to be whatever the artist does. I want it to be the best they could possibly do, and that's my goal.
I know this question is like asking, and I'm sure you've been asked it a billion times, which is your favorite child? Which is your favorite pet? Is there a song that you like performing more than others?
1,000,000,001, if you want to know the truth. Anyway, not really. There's so many highlight moments of the set. I wouldn't pick out one as a favorite, but there's lots of highlights. The new guitar solo during Urgent, the jamming during Juke Box Hero, the vibe of the audience when everybody sings "I Want to Know What Love Is." There's so many highlight moments that I just couldn't pick a favorite.
So let's go from the high energy of Foreigner to, and I don't know if Yoga would be considered high energy, but it's more, I would say low energy, right? To kind of just get the zen.
No, it's high energy, but it's controlled energy. So there's a lot, you gain a lot of energy when you do yoga, but you control the energy. It's a different thing. So you're asking about my involvement in yoga. Yeah. If you want to see what I do, which is virtual meditation classes, come to hotforyogascv.com, hotforyogascv.com, and you'll find out information on how to take my virtual meditation class that I try to hold every Monday night. Sometimes it has to float around because of my tour schedule, but it's been a great opportunity for people to do that, and we've been having a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. And before we let you go, like I said, you're coming to the Tampa Bay area. I think it's Atlanta, then South Florida, and then Tampa. Talk about the tour so far and what we can expect when you come in our hometown.
Sure. Well, actually, I think you guys are show number 3, if I'm not mistaken, because the first show is the 6th in Atlanta. So it'll be very fresh when we get to you guys, which means it's going to be really exciting. And all I can tell you is this: we're pulling out some extra stuff on this tour, so it's going to be great. You're going to know a million songs and not realize it, and it's going to be a powerful line of music because you got Loverboy opening, who have hit after hit after hit, and are just a great band. So powerful line of music, a lot of fun. Come and get ready to sing.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Jeff, thank you for your time. I know we have your
My
address.
pleasure.
We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as a care package from Bucked Up Energy Drink as well.
You guys are too cool, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day, and we'll see you on the weekend.
You will. Take care.
All right. I had no idea
that
Hot Blooded was about yoga.
There you go.
So now we get to the meeting, and I can't wait to find out about.
Do you know the meeting?
Cool as ice, because I got a bucket in the back
You got a bucket of ice. All right, let's go hit our final break of the afternoon. Coming to you.